Hi, Sarah. My name is Dr. Sam. It's a pleasure to be meeting with you today. As it's our first session, I would just like to debrief you our policies of confidentiality. Any information you wish to share with me in this space will be kept in confidence, and should you express any plans to harm yourself or somebody else, then the confidentiality will be broken in an effort to protect yourself and others. Do you have any questions regarding the policy?
Just wanted to confirm that whatever I say will stay between us, correct?
That is correct. Everything will stay between us. Do you mind telling me a little bit about yourself and what brings you in today?
Well, I'm a single mother working hard to provide for my daughter. She is 3 years old. And actually, I was working hard to provide for her until recently. I got laid off from my job due to the pandemic. Now it seems like I'm not doing much, and it was recommended to me that I meet with you as I navigate this.
So, from what you're saying, you were working full time prior to the pandemic and you've been the main care provider for your daughter. Is this correct?
That is correct. The daycare that I worked at had a reduction in enrollment, so there were too many workers and not enough shifts for the staff. And I was one of the newest employees, even though I worked there for almost a year, which meant I was also one of the first to be let go.
I would like to recognize the strength and courage it takes for someone to initiate the need for help or guidance. The past couple of years have been challenging in many similar yet different ways for each of us, and you're valid for being here today. Do you mind telling me what are some of the strategies you've been using to cope with the challenges during this time?
If I'm honest, I don't think I have used any strategies. It has taken me a while to process being let go and trying to figure out what's next. And I also don't want to contact my daughter's father and reach out to him as he hasn't been involved in her life. But at this point, that may be the only option.
Perhaps it might not be beneficial for you or your daughter to have involvement with her father in your lives. If this is a decision you don't want to make, we can explore other members of your support system that you can reach out to instead. Let us identify what is challenging you the most right now.
I think the most challenging part of it, all this, has been trying to figure out what comes next. Because, like I mentioned, I do not want to involve her father, but how do I navigate this alone?
I can understand the future is hard to predict when a big change like this happens. Have you considered applying for any forms of financial aid, or are you able to collect employment insurance?
I have applied and I am receiving EI, but that will end soon, so I need another plan.
Perhaps you're consider new before you consider new employment opportunities. Um, what are some of the aspects you enjoyed or appreciated about the daycare center you worked at before?
I really enjoyed working at the daycare center. Working with the kids reminded me of my own daughter, and I love being around them. I built really good relationships with my coworkers, and working at the daycare also allowed me to be around my daughter more. Um, this is the first time that I am, as she was enrolled at the same daycare, that allowed me to be around her with her. And this is also the first time that I am admitting to myself that I haven't been taking this all too well. I'm still processing this change because when I got the job, it finally felt like I would be able to give my daughter a good life. And now it feels like I am back to square one when my daughter's father left us. It feels like I have to start all over again. And how will I be able to provide for the both of us?
I'm sorry to hear about this. And throughout your time together, we're going to set some goals on how you're going to be able to achieve the next steps towards your future. I can tell that you really enjoyed your time working at the daycare center and your position there. I can imagine how rewarding it must feel to spend time with your daughter while also being at work. While the relations seem to be going well with your colleagues, how did you feel the way your employers treated you?
It's upsetting that they made the decisions based on seniority rather than performance of their employees. They told me that they appreciated all that I have done and that they might call me back for occasional shifts. But if they do, I don't think I will go.
Despite how challenging it might be to run the daycare with less enrollments, it sounds like your employers could have valued you as a key um, could have valued you a bit more as a key member of the team had they looked at your performance at the agency as well. Although there is another way you can look at the situation. If they've offered to hire you back for occasional shifts, maybe this could be a way to perceive them as them valuing your work.
Yeah, I guess you were right about that. But if they really valued me, they would have made cuts, but based on performance, then maybe I wouldn't have been laid off. Or even if I was, I would have seen that there were some flaws in me. I've been trying to figure out what I did wrong or what I could have changed.
Have you considered the possibility maybe there wasn't a doing right or a doing wrong in the situation?
No, I haven't really considered that.
I would just like to confirm what I've learned about your employment situation so far. So, due to the effects of lockdowns and the implementation of social distancing, it's been difficult for parents to enroll their children in these services. Therefore, your employer has been unable to support and pay for full time staff. But up until the point of being laid off, you felt your employers had valued you and your work. Is this correct?
Yes, that is what I thought.
If you were given the opportunity to return back to the daycare center when it is safe to do so, have you considered going back?
I would love to go back despite how frustrated and angry I have been feeling with their decisions. I really loved working there. It was a good work environment, and I was able to provide for my daughter.
I'm not encouraging suppressing your anger or any negative emotions you may be feeling. It's important that you're allowing yourself to feel all the feelings necessary. However, are you willing to consider a different perspective?
Yes, I think maybe that is what I need to hear.
It's clear from what you're expressing to me, you're passionate about your job, and securing your position there had meant a lot to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel the anger or the sadness as much as you have been expressing to me. This pandemic has had an effect on everyone in many different ways. For business owners, it's believable that it has been difficult to let key staff members like you go because they're unable to afford running their business. Therefore, it creates some difficulty for employers to pay their workers. While what happened ultimately is very stressful and disappointing, you need to earn a stable enough income to support you and your daughter.
Yes, I agree. I do not know what I should do in the meantime. I need to provide for my daughter, and I cannot wait around for them to hire me back.
How about we set up a plan to create some goals for our sessions going forward? We can start by identifying the top 2 or 3 goals you wish to achieve from our sessions together. Let's start by looking at what are the most important things that you need to accomplish in this present moment.
I really need to find another source of income before my savings start running low. And I think another goal I have is to have a support system for both myself and my daughter.
Now, I want you to rank these goals, starting from the one you feel takes the most priority. And this is the first goal that we'll focus on between now and the next session.
That would definitely have to be finding another source of income.
All right, I think we can come up with a couple ideas together for how you'll achieve the first goal. Then at our next session, we'll follow up with how things went and whether or not the goal was achieved. From there, we'll move forward towards achieving the next goal. How does this sound?
That sounds very reassuring.
Great. Let's look at finding a source of income step by step. If you're ready to try and apply for new employment opportunities, the first thing you can start with is fixing your resume and making sure it's up to date. You can allocate maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day over the next week to ensure your resume is up to your standards. Are there any questions you have about your homework or regarding therapy?
No, not at this moment. I think I can do that. I can work on my resume and bring that up to date.
Awesome. And then once you feel that your resume is ready, I encourage you to look at Indeed, LinkedIn, or another source of employment opportunities that you can view what agencies are hiring in your area at the moment. And then I kind of hope that you're able to maybe apply to one of them at the very least. That would be a good stepping stone towards finding a source of income. I'm looking forward to speaking with you at our next session at in a few weeks. This will be the end of our session today. And I hope the rest of your week will start to become a little easier for you moving forward. It was a pleasure meeting with you today, Sarah, and I hope you take care.
Thank you for providing me with some next steps, and thank you for meeting with me.